So this is going to be in response to the Axiom tutor, response to the response. So we got the addition is the mental act of bringing things together. We can assume that's a good definition until it suddenly isn't. But then, what numerical system are we going to use? I think the most important thing for all of these questions, like the scribe counting, the 100 acres, what base system are we going to use? Like classically, a lot of people use 12 because it's easy to count with like fingers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Or do we do base 10, which is like for our fingers? 12 is easier to divide in group, and 10 is easier to count in large numbers, I think. I'm not really sure on that. That's just my assumption on the beginning. And so we would have to figure out, are we going to use base 10? Or are we going to use base 12? Because with our 250 pounds of wheat, that's base 10. Base 20, that's only 125 pounds of wheat. So we got to figure out what exactly our base is. Who's the king and who gets to decide the standard? The same thing for 100 acres on the field, a handful. What defines a handful? Like what would be the approximation of a handful? Is it a child's handful or is it Andre the Giant's handful? Is it Shaq or is it Shakira? And that'll start to determine into it. And we'll have to get into probability as well when we're actually growing acres. Because again, like my big thing is if we're reinventing math, it has to be tied into something real. And so if we're saying we're going to plant for food, we know that there's a probability some of those seeds aren't going to plant. It's not one seed for one plant all the time. And then how do we quantify the union of sets of disjoint, just to go on the third one? I think right now we need to go from understanding the basic of like what's an element and what fits into a group or a set for mental addition. How many do we count before we tick over and for our base set, basically. But for our 20 math and 20 philosophy majors, last question, how many are both and what else is needed? We need to know first if there's a percentage of anyone who is a math or philosophy, because we can say there is, but from what I see as 20 math majors, 20 philosophy majors, that doesn't tell me anything except for that. And so we would need to know that one, there are a number of students who are both majors. I'll have to think on that one a little bit more to really get into everything I need. But as far as what language we're going to use for mathematics, we got to start with the base pair, I think, the most. And then we can get into like what kind of annotation and what kind of language we were using to communicate that base counting system.